Hi, welcome to the channel. Today's video is titled She Accuses Charlie Kirk of Racism but Can't Explain How. Okay, we're going to check this video together and I would love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in.
We have to be careful in calling someone a scumbag and using that to then justify our poor treatment of them or our poor speech towards them. Because as we saw earlier...
Who are we calling a scumbag? I missed that portion.
Well, he said when you're a scumbag, sometimes if somebody is a scumbag, you should go in on them, right?
The ones that took him out? Is that who were...
No.
Oh, just in general.
Just in general. Like if someone is a scumbag, you need to handle them. I'm not talking specifically about Charlie Kirk. I'm just saying, like,
bro, what do we do with criminals?
The statement was made, like,
oh, you guys
if someone's a scumbag, we should be able to talk to them, whatever. Well, we just had disagreement, and I know we disagreed on a lot, but it was very respectful disagreement, right? But what is to stop someone from calling you a scumbag because you disagree with them? Like
they do. They hold on. They go even fucking beyond. Look at what they did to Charlie Kirk. They fucking he's a fascist. He's an authoritarian. He's a sexist. He's a racist. He's a Nazi. Hold on. Of course,
he has said some very racist things, though.
Posthumously,
okay,
though?
like what? Hold on. No.
Like
hold
what?
on.
He has said some very racist things.
What did he say? What did Charlie Kirk say that was racist?
There was a few, but
give me one.
The biggest thing was talking about affirmative action and referencing Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown, and there was one more person, and he said that they don't have the brain capacity to think in that way, and that now. Don't get me wrong, because I'm speaking...
Why isn't that a sexist statement?
But I'm...
No.
It could be, but he was saying it in the context of them being black, not them being women. So if it was about them being women, then it would be a sexist statement.
The words came out of his mouth. The words came out of his mouth, in essence, because these people are black, they are stupid? Because, for example, like, I could say they're Democrats. Why can't it just be like he thought they were stupid because they're Democrats?
Because that wasn't what they were talking about. They were talking specifically about affirmative action and them getting in and taking a white person's spot because they don't have the brain power to do that otherwise. He literally said that. And that's not a word for word quote, but that was a racist thing. Now, I am speaking as someone who is very inspired by Charlie Kirk and how he spoke faithfully, boldly, and how he spoke boldly.
DEI, it's the DEI hires.
It's the DEI.
It's the DEI.
Find the clip. Find the clip.
Just look up Charlie Kirk DEI.
And I think that's the thing is we have to understand that this is not a one-sided discussion. This is a new.
I'm just gonna say this because people, especially again, context matters. And you see, especially that this particular clip that she's talking about, or this statement that she is talking about, I recently just checked it. And I just laughed. You want to know why? Because people take things out of context. And again, it was talking about DEI and affirmative action, right? Because he said, and you know what's interesting is because Charlie Kirk said that it is racist. Some people will say, oh, he's sexist, right? But if it were coming from a different person, it wouldn't be sexist or it wouldn't be racist. And what he said, context again, because people will just take clips and just run with it. I wish they're going to play the clip here. If they don't find the clip to play it, I'm also going to find it to play it for people to hear. Because I don't want to just say it and not get the right context. I want it to be played so people hear for themselves exactly what he said.
Nuanced discussion. And there are certain things that you can disagree with someone about and that you can agree with someone about. Okay. I'm glad she said that. So you agree with somebody on some things, you disagree with somebody on something. So because you disagree with the person on something, does that make the person racist, sexist, or fascist, or whatever? Hello?
Cricket, yeah.
Disagreed with things that you can disagree with someone about and that you can agree with someone about. I disagreed with his stance on the video that I'm referencing. Disagreed with that. But as a Christian woman, I love the fact that he is pro-family and pro-biblical family. I love the fact that he is anti-abortion. I love the fact that he goes by a biblical standard on certain things. But other things, I cannot agree with him on. I think where
what was the
to,
racist thing he said? Like, what did he actually
well, I mean,
say?
we can
Do you have the
find
clip?
we can find the clip if you want, but to imply that somebody is there because they take a white person's spot because they do not have the brain power to be there otherwise is crazy. And especially as an athlete who is a black woman who went to a predominantly white and very predominant school like Vanderbilt. And was intelligent enough to be there and succeed there, like that'd be crazy for someone to say, "Oh, well, she can't be there. Like she's the diversity hire there, or whatever." Like that'd be wild, or she doesn't have the brain power, or the brain capacity to exist in those spaces.
I saw a young black gentleman on TikTok talking about how Charlie had reached out to him years ago. It was on TikTok. It was on a different social media platform, and I said, you'd be great in our cause and this, that, and the other. And the young man said, I don't have the money to get to this, whatever the conference was. And Charlie said, we have scholarships available. So this young black man who's now like an older
I'm sorry,
black
I have to interrupt.
Lol Paladins donated $1,000.
Give me another.
If you wanted
1,000?
someone to deliver their message in a kind and considerate manner, you shouldn't have killed Charlie Kirk.
Hey,
He was
just forget it, Nick.
respectful
I'm just
and
going to
they
move
killed
on.
him because of
Just
it,
forget it.
because he was effective.
Yo, Law Paladin, sorry for the delay on pulling this up. You're a fucking legend, sir. Thank you, dude. Champagne, do you want to finish your thought?
It was just the fact that I was buying into because of her rhetoric with telling me what her thoughts were on Charlie, and we were at vastly different vantage points here, opinion points. But I saw this young black man on TikTok talking about how Charlie reached out and made things happen, and because of that opportunity where Charlie said he had this scholarship, he changed this man's life. Now, I only saw one thing, and I did see that they were calling him the Black Malcolm X. And I had to explain to my 14-year-old, well, during the civil rights movement and the Jim Crow movement, we had the loss of Malcolm X. We had the loss of Martin Luther King Jr. We had the loss of Medgar Evers. And Charlie, like, I'm trying to explain to her the trajectory of what happens when people are trying to bridge the gap and stand up. So anyway, there were a bunch of people on TikTok, but maybe they're isolated incidents. I don't know. But I didn't see the racism.
Well, Candace Owens.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree with somebody on some things. I disagree with somebody on some things. Just because I disagree with you on that doesn't make you an East. And yeah, people would say things, but everybody is not going to agree with. But the fact that you don't agree with him on a particular stance, then it makes him a racist. Or because he says or talks about DEI and affirmative action, then he's racist. Hello, how about you? When you hear things like, "Oh, I want to hire person," or "I want to hire people for the job, and I want to hire black women," why are you not offended? Or rather, I want to hire somebody for this job, and I want it to be a particular gender for the job. Instead of the best people. How about that? Why do we have to bring race and gender to the mix? When you bring race and gender to the mix, there lies the problem. That's why sometimes when I hear things to say, "Oh, as a black woman," I'm sorry. When people address things like that, I just be like, okay. Because we don't get to hear people address things to say as a white man, as a white woman. We only get to hear it black. Why does race and gender have to always be like in context? Like society is trying to make everything gender based and race based. We are far past that. It makes no sense. And then when people try to talk about this on a neutral base to say, okay, how about we coexist without seeing the gender or seeing the race, or without saying it to say, okay, you want to give people this because of their gender or their race. Then you say, oh, the person is, if he's not racist, is going to be East. Anything East. There shouldn't be an East in it. Because we're trying to live in a world where we don't see color. But again, people be like, oh, they are color blinded. Then until it gets to a particular thing to say, oh, I identify as a, then the race before the gender. Why do you have to do that? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But again, if you agree with somebody on something, that's quite okay. If you disagree with a person on something, that's quite okay. But because you disagree with the person, doesn't have to be that the person is termed racist, misogynist, sexist, fascist, or the East in the world. What is going on?
Well, Candace Owens, is one of his best friends, and she happens to be black, and
Did she say that too?
So no, and I'm not saying that.
Really quick. It says he said they got the position because they were black but didn't have the skills. He did not say they didn't have the skills because they are black. Not the same thing, according to that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, but he referenced the fact that they don't have the brain capacity, like.
Huh? Oh, the camera? Okay. Sorry.
So regardless, I'm not saying that he is a horrible person and he he hated black people and all of those things. I'm saying that there are certain things that he said that were problematic to a certain.
She said that to me too.
To certain people, right? And the way he said it at times does not help those specific people like and respect him. Mm-hmm. Now, because I also have the identity, I have the identity of a black woman and I have the identity of a Christian. And so in my identity as a black woman, his statement in that video was very disturbing. It was very off-putting as that person. In my identity as a Christian, though, I respect him for a lot of reasons, for his boldness in sharing his faith and for his stand on issues that are not popular to speak about, right? And so I am torn in those two identities, but because I have prioritized my Christian identity over my black identity, because that's what the Bible calls me to do, then I can look at him, I can revere him, I can look up to him, but that doesn't mean I forget the other ways that he is problematic to me and people like me. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that is something I can't speak to.
Right, but I'm not trying to say, he's a raging racist.
Yeah. Move it on, but.
Okay. There you go. Because everything has to be based off of race. And I wish I could find the video. I don't have it saved. I wish I could find the video. But again, everything has to be about race. People, just because you're entitled to say some things, and then nobody's gonna label you for what you said. But you expect or you think people or someone else is not entitled to say what they want to say. But if they say it, they should be labeled. It makes no sense to me. I don't see an issue or have an issue with whatever that was, because let's be truthful to ourselves. You hear people say, oh, they want to hire or they want things based on, to say, um how do I put it, they bring the race and then they bring the gender in the mix and all of that. How is that not offensive? And I think in the context of what he's saying, let me even pull up of the video. Charlie Kirk, let's see. Hope we get the video. I recently checked that video. That's even what's annoying right now. I recently checked. Okay, I think is on his channel. Let me see. Let me go check his channel. I know I recently checked that video and I wanted to play that video so people see or hear it for themselves. Because at this point, this is not even to prove anything, because at the end of the day, you're going to agree with what you agree with and disagree with what you disagree with. That is your choice. And you're entitled to doing so, because I mean, you're human, right? At the end of the day, if you don't agree with somebody on some things, it doesn't make the person a it doesn't make the person racist or fascist or whatever. Okay, here is the clip. Um, okay, this is it. So I'm screen recording now. Here it is. We're gonna play it now.
Says himself, 101.
You really have to wonder. In fact,
Okay, let me take
if
it
we
back.
would
a
have,
bit. Hold on.
Seems to be spreading the most. Yeah, we got a couple here on lockdown for Charlie on DEI. So let's go ahead and play. This is the one that seems to be spreading the most. And this is the accusation, Brandon, that Charlie was saying black women do not have enough brain processing power. That's their cherry-picked top line.
That's what they've taken. It's like a
Even
complete
Obama
misquote,
said this.
complete misquote, but it's popped up everywhere. I think that's also in the Hannah Jones one.
So I'm going to play. It's a long clip, but let's just play it through. You'll hear what Charlie says himself. 101.
you really have to wonder. In fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I mean, they said it themselves, or in this case, she said it herself. Let me take it back, because this is the problem. Because Charlie Kirk said it is a problem, but when the people say it themselves, it is not a problem. Why is that?
Processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving.
All right, so now that is going. Obama quoted this, saying, "Oh well, I don't really, what happened to Charlie's terrible, but he said some bad things about my wife." Christopher Hitchens said that.
Yeah, no, it's not even. We don't even have to go to Hitchens. We can go to Michelle Obama herself in her memoir. Basically says, my school guidance counselor said I didn't have the test scores and grades to get into Princeton,
right.
And she's like, "But I got in on the strength of my essay." I'm just going to tell you, Michelle, if
It wasn't your essay.
if your name was like, Kim Soo, like some Asian name,
Yeah.
you would not have gotten in with bad grades and bad test scores because of a great personal essay. Period.
Yeah.
And
I have to say, Charlie was right. They don't have brain processing power. And everybody that believes that he's a racist or that he said something untoward don't have brain processing power either, including Barack Obama. But these people, they're not being honest with us. That's not how, in my opinion, how Barack Obama really feels on the inside. He has to say that to capitulate to this ideology that he's supporting the black man. They know exactly what Charlie Kirk is saying. They know exactly, because they were saying that they were affirmative action hires, and because of affirmative action, all of those things are the reason why they got hired. We know for a fact. And if they're mad at Charlie, they should be mad at Joe Biden, because Joe Biden said he put Ketanji Brown Jackson in a bad situation. That fool could have just simply said, I'm going to hire the best, or I'm going to, appoint the best Supreme Court justice I can, the smartest and brightest that we've ever did, and he picked a black woman. But instead, that old decrepit man said, I'm going to pick a black woman. He didn't even say he's going to pick the smartest black woman. He's just going to pick a black woman. And that destroys the credibility of black people. Same with Michelle Obama, saying the things that she say. Well, how about you guys support black people by saying, I'm going to pick the most qualified person and let, a black person come forward that's qualified. And I know Charlie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be a fool to think Charlie's a racist. You got to be a fool. You're a disingenuous person with no processing power in the mind to come to your own reasonable conclusions. You can look at the breadth of what Charlie has done, the people that he surrounded himself with, the people that he partnered with, the people that have raving reviews about him, and it'll tell you right there that he don't have a racist bone in his body.
Well, I mean, not to mention, you've seen this, I've seen this, like how many people that he didn't care about what color your skin you had, he cared about the ideas you had.
Right.
And it's like, I just have seen, in my mind's eye, I could see all these instances of Charlie just like hugging, embracing, laughing with people of all backgrounds and colors. Because you know what? They agreed on the most important stuff, and they probably were Christians. Brandon had some harsh words.
Okay. There you go, or there you hear it for yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, context matters, and I just wish they would have played it here for people to hear exactly. But now we've played the video for you to hear it yourself. Do what you would with that information. But obviously, because it is coming from Charlie Kirk, people are angry or are calling him racist or sexist or whatever. But I mean, when the actual people say it, it's no problem or no issue with that. It makes no sense. I agree with people, and I disagree with people at the same time on some things. And because I disagree with you, it doesn't make me to start adding the East to it. That's your opinion. And everyone is entitled to their opinion. And I mean, we live in a world where freedom of speech exists. So I don't think people should be murdered for their thoughts of opinion, right? Again, free speech. So people shouldn't be murdered for their opinion or what they think. Life goes on. At the end of the day, people are bound to evolve or change their thoughts of opinion as they grow. And it makes sense. That's how life is. But let me know what you think regarding this. Obviously, people, when they don't have anything to say, or they don't know what to say, or they disagree with somebody, they tempt the person to be East. It makes no sense. You don't have to do that. Let me know what you think. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.